Okay guys, I'm not 1,000% happy with my snow. I made a couple of key errors, as I'm fully aware of. The texture just isn't coming out right. I'm not happy. So I'm going to do a little bit of experiment and try this Hobby Round snow that I picked up from Element Games. Now it seems very fluffy. Oh my god. They do fill this to the brim. If you sneeze on this, this stuff is all over the place. Wow. I mean, snow everywhere. And sure, at the end of the day, that's not too much of a problem now, is it? He says in a pushy Irish accent. No, let's open up this brush a bit. It's seen better days, and let's see what we can do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to test out a few things on this piece of terrain I have here. It's very, don't know if you can catch that, but it's very, very grainy, too grainy, and you can even see the lines where I put extra snow on. Not happy at all. So let's just do a couple of tests. Let's just put some PVA glue on, whoa, just around here. Okay, and then let's mix some of this with PVA glue and see how we get on. I'm going to water this down a tad so that what I'm trying to do is, because the PVA glue will obviously come clear, I'm hoping to fill the holes of the snow. Now, what could happen? This turns into looking a bit more like an icy cap of snow because of the shine from the PVA glue. And then, you know, I could mat that down, but I'm going backwards. And I don't want to go backwards. I want to make this effective. So we'll cover this over because I'm not overly confident about the amount of PVA glue I actually need there just to get the effect that I'm after. So we'll just put that in. Okay, and we'll see how that gets on. We'll just half cover this. Okay, remember the PVA glue, as Mel mentioned and I picked up, the PVA glue on this is now actually dissolving temporarily or weakening the PVA glue used within the snow. So too much irritation could cause in the grains again coming back out, when in fact all I want to do is cover it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to irritate this a lot on one end and see how that affects it. Okay, I'm getting a lot of bits coming off this brush, but at this point I'm not overly concerned. These are things that I can always come back to and redo once we have a greater understanding of it. So, mixing up this new snow, I'm definitely going to need some water for this. What we'll go for is we'll go for a cleaner version. Let's just get a small bit of water in there. Always a small bit, tends to be just that bit too much. And we'll see what effect this snow will give me, and whether I go from one company to the next. So again, just churning this up, and I'm going to do that just over this end here and see what happens. Now this snow seems a lot more flaky, more powdery than grainy, so that might give us, I don't know, it might give us a fluffier effect. My goodness, could this be static snow? I wouldn't know. So that's what I'm up to now, just there, and that's my two tests. Now obviously that's awful over there, but that's okay. So there we go. There are the two tests, and again, patience needs to kick in, and we'll see. Now, one last thing I can do is just on this nodging here, I'm going to put a virgin dab. That just sounds all wrong. So there's a wee virgin dab on there of just this new snow, and we'll see how that that works on his own. Okay, so I'll leave that there, and I'll come back with a quick look-see at how they came out. Obviously, the professionalism is lost when I start using messy brushes on stuff, but from the distance, that looks great, but up close, I'm just not happy with the graininess throughout. That is not good enough for me. But yeah, okay, back soon. To say disastrous struck, but in a sense, I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's a disaster in train making. I think there's just serious learning curves. Now, what I've actually done is I've taken my army painter, Snow, not a lot left, and that's given me these effects, as you can see, which is great. But unfortunately, under close scrutiny, I don't know if you can see there, but a lot of the snow is actually very pocketed. So what I'm getting is I'm getting the granules of the army painter snow kind of showing through after everything else melts. But it has a fantastic white. It's a beautiful white. So that's a great piece. I like that, but it needs to be refined. Because then I've taken this new Hobby Round snow. Okay. And it feels and it looks like static snow in a sense, I suppose. And I went over the original snow, and I've got what I think is a much better effect, but I'm not 1,000% convinced yet. So I thought, okay, the Hobby Round snow is the business. That'll do a great job. And then, unfortunately, let's see if we can zoom this in. Yeah, this was just plain Hobby Round snow, and I'm very, very disappointed in it. It has not got that white depth that I expected. In fact, it lost the white. It's become, in a sense, transparent, unless you put it, well, it hasn't dried yet, but unless, and this has been over, what, 18 hours or so. So unless you put it on mass, I don't think it'll pull the punch like the other snow. Let me zoom out again. I apologize, guys. Okay, there we go. So, which then puts me in the quandary of I'm not able to finish off the main video I wanted, hence this secondary video. So what I'm going to have to do now is I am happy with this. It has the ability with this technique to even pop even further by putting small sections into it, and that would really, really be nice. Too much snow on it already to maybe mess around with that. The effect is, it's a good practice piece, and the effect is okay, but this has one of the main pieces which was nearly ready to go, and I did this off camera yesterday because I just wanted to test things rather than dragging the main video out. As I said, this is a secondary video on just the snow itself. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put on both the Army Painter snow and another coat of this to see which of them pop out the most, and then come back again tomorrow, which is disappointing. So what I will do, I think, is get myself home, make up this video and get it out to you guys to show you the progress. But the main video of putting everything together is still on track, and as you can see, that's that there. Okay, so I'll cut it out here and I'll get back to you in a moment. Okay, cheers guys. Okay, so what I'm doing here, and this is looking very, very spotty. This is looking Dalmatian-like. There's a reasoning behind that. I've just put on the round Hobby Snow on the back end up to here, and that's gone over the first coat, so we're going to see how that works out. I'm now putting Army Painter onto the area in the front over the original, I hobby round to see if it's the white, if I can break the white translucent aspect. Now, the reason I'm putting it on a bit like Dalmatian dots is because seeing what the hobby round was like in the first instance, I can come back later on and just use that to blend between the dots so that I have a transition of areas where snow is still clumping and holding tight against the sun, because this would be late winter effect, and that's the sort of effect I've been going for with all of the Angmar models, a bit of a late winter effect where the true fierceness of the north wastes is being abated by the regular appearance of the sun. So yeah, I won't get into it too much. So I'm going to use that then to transition between these and to break up the leopard effect, of course. Now, one of the other things I've been doing is I've been making sure that whatever snow I'm using, predominantly it gets in right close to the base. Reasoning behind that is because I'm using the snow as a kind of a shading, in fact, because with the sun hitting the upper parts and the more exposed ground parts, you're going to have a lot of rock and soil aspects peeking through. But close into the rock, which is going to take a long time to heat up in the sun, but also is going to take a long time, remain cold. It's going to allow the snow to have a hold. I think you'll notice that in any aspects of a winter scene. If you go out in the hills and you see that as it comes into early spring, you'll see that the snow is kept in close. So I'm just trying to copy that effect here and see how we get on. Now, I don't want to transition back into this area because my experiments will be messed up. I've made the Army Painter snow very, very watery, so it is going to need a second coat anyway, but most of it's just on top up here and stuff. It's just right on top in the original hobby round. So we'll leave that like that. We'll come back and we'll see how that has dried. We'll see what effect I get with the second coat of both the hobby round and the Army Painter itself. So, right guys, speak to you soon. Hi guys, this is a very impromptu addition to the video. What I'm finding is that snow can work just as paints do. Different textures, different blends. I don't think there's actually just one snow that does for all. I have worked on a board using Woodland Scenic snow. I'm waiting for that to come back over to get some in and give that a try. But at this moment in time, I'm considering that every snow that I've tried to use to date, even potentially my own makeup of snow, has differing effects, similar to pigments. But the effects are more, let's say, visual in texture rather than visual in tones. So, with that in mind, I'm going to end this video here now and just suggest that the end product on my main video, which covers the Angmar scenery, and it's nearly there because I've managed to blast out a few bits and pieces. The drying time has been a bit of a nightmare for me, but I'm going to start seeing what sort of effects. The only downside with what I've been doing with the Angmar boards is that I've started with a lot of snow on certain pieces, and I've had to carry that forward to keep the theme there, which unfortunately putting too much on at once kind of covers the scenic pieces and makes it a bit too, I don't know, in your face. Whereas starting small, now using the hobby round, the hobby round stuff that I said is very I don't know, like static snow. The effects from that are just beautiful if I wanted a very, very late winter effect where the snow is kind of melted and there's just small residues on it. But when the board is, unless the board is transitioning from one season to the next across the 4x4 or 6x4, that's not really going to work. It's just going to stand out differently. But this is great. This is great learning stuff for myself. So I'm going to finish this here now. I hope you enjoyed this small little video, and the next video to come out will be the continuation of the main Angmar video, which will be finishing off those 3 last pieces, getting it on the board, and then giving you a run through of the whole display. So I hope you like that, and speak to you soon. Bye for now.